I always see on the Facebook groups looking for the sharkiest of shark attorneys, and I'm just thinking that means you're looking to spend all of your money on legal fees.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Denisa Tova, your host of Beyond the Bar podcast. And today it's my pleasure to speak with someone I know professionally fairly well and getting really excited and looking forward to getting to know her outside of her title. But what's really interesting is, I've had so many conversations here with our legal trailblazers, and many of them, they don't just stumble, into their careers. They may try one thing that leads to another, and eventually they land somewhere that feels right. So I think my guest today is not that story. Anyway, so I have here with me Molly Zamoiski. She's a family and matrimonial attorney at Chemtop, Moss Foreman, and Beta, and she has spent her entire career at one place, fighting for families, and she knew exactly what she wanted. And but there's so many more layers to her, and looking forward to get to know her. So Molly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Denisa. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I likewise, and I really meant every single word. I mean, I get little tidbits here and there. Like I said, we've ran into each other. We work together professionally. And I'm really curious. I'm curious about your story, who you were as a young girl, and along the way, like how you ended up here doing what you're doing today.
Yeah, sure. So, before I came onto the podcast today, I was thinking a little bit more about it, and I realized that this path for me has really been in my blood. My mother was a teacher and the director of a nursery school, so she has experience dealing with children and families. And my father, who actually passed away while my mother was pregnant with me, so I never met him, he was an attorney. So I've really had the kind of children, family, and law in my blood this whole time. And growing up, I always was interested in law. I loved working with kids, and I'm a people person for sure. I love helping people. So when I went to college, I double majored in legal studies and development and family studies. And I did various internships relating to law and children and families. I went to law school straight from college, and I did all of my internships throughout my law school career related to family law. I interned for a family court judge in Brooklyn. I interned at the Children's Law Center representing children in family court. I interned at the Administration for Children's Services. I interned in the juvenile rights practice of the law department. And then I graduated and came into matrimonial practice.
Literally in your blood. Yes,
Yep,
you really meant it.
yep, yep.
Wow. So where was it? Middle school? Was it high school? What was it for some people it was a show? You mentioned your dad was an attorney. Was it so? Have you had these conversations, with your mom as you were growing up that this is definitely what I want to do? And what did it look like? What were you imagining that it would look like becoming an attorney?
So I think it probably started more with being into crime shows, and that got me into the idea of being in law more so than anything else. And then as I got older, I realized, well, I'm not going to be, a police officer. I didn't think that that fit for me, but being in the law really made sense for me. It just felt right. And thinking about what type of law I would be interested in, I I realized I wanted to help children. So I originally was thinking I would maybe be a defense attorney for
Mm.
juveniles. That was something that interested me early on. So at the beginning of my law school career, I was focused on that to an extent, in the back of my mind at least, of as what my goal was. But then over time, once I graduated law school, that kind of morphed into applying to jobs and expanding my search into matrimonial practice. And that's where I ended up.
What did you realize it wasn't that you thought it was when you entered the field?
I guess I probably expected to be in the courtroom a lot more than I am now. Of course, I'm a litigator and I'm in court a lot, but many of my cases don't go to court. So I'm not kind of, when you see lawyers on TV shows, you're always seeing a
Yeah.
lawyer who's going to court. And it's certainly not that. But I love what I do. I love being in court, but I also love not being in court because I think it's better for the clients to settle their cases without having the stress of a judge who, as everyone says, a stranger in black robes deciding your fate and your family's fate. So that, I guess that was something that people don't expect. And maybe when I was younger, I was more picturing myself being in court every day, which I'm in court a few times a week, but certainly not every day, all day.
How do you deal with with difficult opposing counsel, with the attorney on the other side?
So I would say that I try to not become too emotional. It's often difficult. The clients being emotional and difficult is expected. So
Yes.
that doesn't get to me as much. But when it's another attorney who's being unreasonable or difficult, it's a lot more frustrating for me than when the client is. I would say I rely a lot on my colleagues who I can vent to, and we can express our frustrations and tell each other, anecdotes about difficult attorneys we've dealt with and how we've handled that. And really relying on support of my colleagues for sure is the way to kind of vent out the frustration and then just handle it straight on. I always maintain my professionality, and I don't let myself get carried away by the way that other people are acting.
Do you like ever not do you ever, that sounds so absolute, but when you're I don't want to assume you're married, is that correct?
I'm
Okay.
married with 2 kids and a
Okay.
dog.
And a dog.
I know you're a big dog person too.
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. Our Hudson actually turned 4 already. That's
Oh,
just
nice.
one of them just stay puppies.
I know, they're so cute when they're puppies.
Yeah, they're great. They don't talk back. They
Yeah,
love you unconditionally.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I think it's healthy, to have arguments in relationships. I think people they add negative connotation to the word argument, but disagreements, I should say.
Right.
Do you find yourself sort of bringing, the court-like attitude or approach to when you do have an argument with your husband about something? Do you find yourself like going there, sounding like
So
a litigator?
I went to Brooklyn Law School, and 2 weeks before I started my 1L year at law school, someone organized a pre-law school happy hour. And I
Oh,
think there were 380 people in my incoming 1L class, and only 6 people showed up. And I was one of them, and my now husband was one of them. So
okay.
we are actually both attorneys. So that question is,
Of
we're
course.
we're matched in that sense. With, do we both bring that kind of hat home with us when we have disagreements? But
Yeah.
yeah, we met right before law school started, and we were together mid 1L year, and then since then. So he's not a litigator though. He's in-house counsel at a bank. But we both do have that argumentative, stubborn side to us. So sure, we really believe in our position and zealously advocate for ourselves, but we usually are able to work things out between us without too much drama.
How old are your children?
5.5 and 3.
Okay, so they're not quite old enough, but I could just see them going, okay, guys, time out, time out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My 5-year-old
Yeah.
is definite, or the 5.5-year-old is into negotiating. If we tell her, no, you can't do this, she'll be like, okay, but then you have to give me a dessert later. Like she's always trying to get something in exchange for what we're telling her she can't have. So she might have this in her blood too. We'll see.
Yep. There you go. You're raising generations of attorneys right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's yeah, the kids are great at negotiating. I know.
yeah.
And if they look extra cute, it's hard to say
I
no.
know, I know. It is.
Um, so what do you do outside? I need to start asking this differently because to me, work is it's like if you love what you do, and I mean it is running through your blood, so you obviously
Yeah,
do. It's part of you. So let's just see what's other dimension of you when you are
yeah.
not working or wrapped up in work. What do you do? What do you like to do?
So I love to travel. That's something that my husband and I have been doing together for a long time since we met, pretty much. When we graduated from law school, we actually spent 30 days in Southeast Asia as a post bar trip, and we both absolutely love Asia, specifically Thailand. We really love. But traveling in general is something that I'm really passionate about. I try to take a few trips every year, even if it's long weekends, just exploring new places and cultures. I like to eat and dine out at new restaurants. I like to spend time with my kids and my dog, which is, I guess every parent would say that, but that's something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Um, I like seeing friends. I try to keep a social life in addition to spending time with family. So I do try to make plans after work. It's great being in the city. It's easy to meet up with people who are working in the city, even if they're not in the city as frequently. I'm able to do that with them. So that's my life outside of work.
Wow, there's so much there. Let me first ask you this. Are you both, would you consider yourself I mean, I guess extroverted, outgoing, enjoying, social
Yes.
interaction, both of you?
Me more so than my husband. I am always trying to make new friends. I have a group of mom friends in Jersey City right now where I live, and I met them all through reaching out on Facebook to people who seem to have mutual friends with me or children the same age. I organize mom's nights out with my daughters, with the parents of my daughters' classes. I'm definitely the one who is the planner, the organizer, the one who's always looking for more friends. So yes, I'm definitely extroverted.
Do you get energized from doing that? Like
Yes.
you
Yes, and
do.
I love planning. If someone says, "Oh,
Yeah.
do you have any ideas for, I don't know, something fun to do this weekend?" I'll come up with a whole list of different options, research them, make calls to
Mm.
make sure places are open. I'm type A, planning ahead, and I enjoy it.
That's a gift. That
Yeah.
stuff exhausts me. I admire that. Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
I enjoy that.
amazing. Wow. What would you do? What would you do if you were not practicing law or you couldn't?
Yeah. So the meaning out of this field entirely or not
Yes,
litigating?
entirely. If you couldn't be a
Okay.
lawyer whatsoever. Yeah.
That's a good question. I think going back to what we were just talking about, I would either want to be a party planner of some sort, or and I'm not great at crafting, but I do like putting together fun goodie bags for my kids' birthday parties. And I know that's something that is almost like an Etsy business or an Instagram business now, where you're preparing little gifts for people that have a theme and something like that, something related to planning and organizing, because I like doing those things.
Yeah, no, this is it's really interesting when you kind of a step outside of that, all these other little gifts and talents that you have, and it sounds like you're able to to fill that bucket.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
also part of you. Do you bring, or how do you think it shows up in your work with clients? It sounds like you're detail
I'm
oriented.
definitely detail oriented. I always recall facts. If I have
Mm.
clients, I can remember even from years and years and years ago, I'll remember their husband's name or their wife's name, their children's names. I I like to really learn the case and the facts so that if I'm in court and someone brings something up, or even not in court, having a discussion with my adversary, something gets brought up, I know immediately the response to that because I know the facts cold and I'm always paying attention to the details and really learning and absorbing those details as I go with the client.
That's helpful.
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Oh, I could, that could be disarming. I mean, I could just
Oh, for sure. And there's some attorneys that are more of the high level big picture, which is also a special talent in and of itself.
yeah.
But it helps to work with people who have that side of them more so. And then there's always kind of a yin and a yang where one person working on a case, if you have two attorneys staffed on a case, is usually more of the big picture game plan
Yeah.
attorney, and then the other is the detail oriented attorney, and I like that dynamic.
Yeah. That's you kind of fill in, it's like a big puzzle piece, and
Yeah,
so you need both.
yeah,
Um, and then everyone communicates differently. Like when you're sitting down with someone who gets just so exhausted when it comes to details, you can have the
right,
big picture person kind of synthesize everything and tie it all in a bit.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's wow, that's really fascinating. And going back to your travel, when somebody says, "Well, I love to travel," I love to know, like, how do you like to travel? What does that mean? Do you prefer to just plop on a beach, for hours and that's it? Do you like tours? Like, but that is such a rich destination that you chose, to Southeast Asia. There's
yeah.
so much culture and it's not around the corner. So how did you and your husband choose that place? And I have to say that's a one way to get to know somebody really well.
Yeah, yeah, it
Right?
was. We knew we had a lot of time between taking the bar and starting work after law school, so we wanted to go somewhere that we could really take advantage of being able to spend that much time away. We both love Thai food. We both have been interested in the culture. It's a beautiful place. There's a mix of city in Bangkok, and then you have more of the jungle area in Chiang Mai, and you have the beaches, and we went to Koh Samui and Krabi. So you really get to experience a lot of different types of places in one country. Um, so it wasn't really something that we needed to think through for a long time. Neither of us had ever been there, and it was somewhere that we both wanted to go. So it was a great experience. We actually went back there on our honeymoon some years later because we enjoyed it so much. But in general, with travel, it really depends on how much time I have. That's usually a big focus on how we pick location, is based on how much time we'll be away, whether or not we're bringing our kids. We've recently started to bring them, though we were the
Really?
parents who often left them home with the grandparents early on, and still will continue to do that. But with our kids, we have been focusing more on the beach trips right now, and something easy to do with them, not too much moving around or getting in and out of cars. When
Yeah.
it's the two of us, we like a mix of sometimes we'll do a city and explore and focus more on walking around and eating and drinking at different places. But also sometimes we're just tired and want to sit on a beach or by the pool for a few days. So it just depends on how much time we have, who's coming with us, and the time of year with weather.
Wow, you have this fluidity to it, with kids, I often wonder. I mean, I was raised in Europe, and it was pretty a structured upbringing. Let me say that, rather than
Hmm.
strict, but it was structured. It was different, and you wouldn't take kids to the restaurant. You
Right.
wouldn't. You just wouldn't. And I often wonder. It seems like some parents, they take them everywhere, no matter what age.
Yeah.
Um, and and I'm just wondering, like, how much are they possibly getting out of it? Like when they're
Right.
3, and let's say if you were to drag them on an 18-hour flight somewhere to,
Right.
yeah,
I think they're too
yeah.
young right now. I love my kids, but I also love spending time without them, and I think it makes me a better parent to be sometimes having my own time by myself or with my husband or with friends,
Yes.
whatever it is. So I'm not the parent who brings my kids everywhere I go.
I love that you said that. Sometimes I think, um, parents take on this identity. That's who I am. You're more than that. And what you said is being effective. You also need, whether it's as a professional, as a parent, that's just my own experience. Also,
Yeah.
I need some me time. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
That's really great. How would how would your teammates, coworkers at work, how would they describe you?
I think they would describe me as someone who's helpful and always, or not always, obviously right now I'm not available, but usually available to talk out an issue or provide advice or engage in a friendly debate on an issue. I come to the office almost every single day, 4 days a week minimum, but usually five
Wow.
days. So I really do like to talk to my colleagues and share ideas and even just talk about things that aren't related to work with. I do social things with a lot of my colleagues also. So I think they have a good opinion of me. And I hope my adversaries do too.
I admire that. You can be, I guess the word adversary. I mean, you advocate for two different positions in court, and then you can
Right.
just do stuff together, be respectful to each other. I think
Exactly.
that's the way it
Right.
should be.
Right.
Yeah.
The attorneys who I honestly I think that you settle cases with the attorneys you get along with. So it's
Mhm.
much better to have a good relationship with your colleagues who are the adversary colleagues, because it helps. It makes cases more enjoyable. I think it helps the clients too to have
Yeah.
two attorneys who work well together, because if you don't, they're not as motivated to pick up the phone to call each other about issues and talk things through. And sometimes it's hard. Things get lost in emails, or emails are, harder to respond to as quickly as just talking out on a call. And if you can pick up the phone and check in with your adversary and be friendly and then settle the case, it's better for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and with clients who are obviously the emotions, that's obvious, but then beyond that, unreasonable and sort of expecting to get somehow vindicated through this process. I mean, newsflash, starting a war is expensive and it's not
Right.
easy. So,
Right.
yeah, that's that
Right.
that yeah.
I always see on the Facebook groups looking for the sharkiest of shark attorneys, and I'm just thinking that means you're looking to spend all of your money on legal fees
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's not going to get your case settled. And
Yeah.
that really should be everyone's goal. And when clients meet with me, I tell them I can be aggressive, but I'm not going to be unreasonable.
Right.
So if you're looking for someone who's just going to be unreasonable and aggressive, then I can give you some names of colleagues, but it's not me.
To me, that's clownish. It's
Right.
like, okay, that beyond that, then you're just putting on a show. And I would add, and you're probably gonna go through rounds of attorneys. And I wonder too. I mean, I've interviewed retired judges, and I think it shows if you're representing client who is unreasonable, and then as a result you take unreasonable position. I would imagine it's really not serving you that great. Judges must get
Right.
tired of that.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And we
yeah.
see court decisions where that comes out and the judges do say, in a legal fee application, for example, maybe there's not as much legal fees being awarded because of attorney conduct or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're all humans and, so it goes, both sides. Yeah, you really, truly, it is in your blood. I can't stop saying that because it just shows. I can hear it, see it. It just you breathe it, and it's not just a cliche. So, what would you? I love asking that someone like you with your experience, also experiencing what it is and what it is not. What would you tell incoming attorney? How would you prepare them?
I would tell someone who's coming in as a matrimonial attorney that they need to have a thick skin for sure, first and foremost, because clients are in the most they're going through the worst time of their lives and they're emotional and they need someone to take it out on. And generally, their attorney is someone who's available to take the brunt of that. We're an easy person to blame. So you really
Mm.
can't be too sensitive in this line of work. And I have clients who will send an email in anger at, they're angry at their partner, not me, but it comes across as being directed towards me. And then 2 minutes later, I'll get an email. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to take it out on you. And I'm like, I don't get offended or I don't get offended easily, I should say. You don't need to apologize to me. I understand. I'm here for you. And I don't blame you for feeling this way. So I think that's really the number one thing someone coming into this specific line of practice needs to prepare for, because you can't stay in this practice long term if you're going to be sensitive and not be able to handle clients' frustration. And they're right to feel frustrated and upset, not with the
Yeah.
legal process, but with their situation because they're going through a bad time.
Yeah. I mean, you're right that there's a difference, right, between the thick skin, sort of not taking it personally,
Right.
trying to, now that you're going to walk into it and sort of not feel anything, or, that you're not a robot, but just that. I think that's really great advice. I haven't heard that one yet.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was what was said was like, make sure you understand this is not a job, it is a career. But that is a reality. That is a
Yeah.
reality. Yeah. Yeah, that's very, you know what? And before I let you go, I'm curious, are you watching any shows? Are you streaming anything interesting?
So right now we're watching two shows that have new episodes being released over time. So we can't, binge either really. One is the second season of Your Friends and Neighbors,
Oh,
which is with John Hamm.
he's funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you
So
like it. I think I've
I like
tried.
it. It's the second season. It's good. It's on Apple TV. And the other show I'm watching is called Margot's Got Money Problems. It's
Huh.
with Elle Fanning, and it's based on a book that I read the book. So whenever I read the book, I always feel like I need to watch the show or the movie after that, but never the other way around. You have to start with the book because the book is always better.
Yeah, that goes well with that. Same thing with movies. Yeah, I think you're
Yep.
right. They're
Yep.
almost like two different stories sometimes. It's like
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
different
And the
things.
book is always better no matter what.
Yeah.
So you have to start with the book.
Huh, I have not heard. I've heard about the first one. I think I may have tried it. I mean, I first watched saw John in Mad Men.
Right. Of course.
Yeah, that classic. But yeah, is that that's a comedy, right?
It's a maybe I would call it kind of like a more of a dramedy. It's
Okay.
about an ex-finance guy who starts robbing houses,
Ooh, okay.
and he's investigated for murder, and there's a lot going on, but it's good. There's a divorce going on, or it's post-divorce and post-divorce issues, so a little bit relevant to this
Mm.
field.
Okay, thanks for the tip. Yeah, we're always looking for, we were I don't know if you watched Yellowstone.
I didn't watch it, but I know of it.
Yeah, that's that. I like I'm interested in the generational conflict. And
Huh?
I didn't used to like, I mean, violence was just, if it was too violent, I was like, no, not interested. But I can stomach some of it, if there is, if it's about relationships and it's sort of
Okay.
part of the story.
Right,
Um,
right.
yeah, I like some of the business elements to it,
Yeah, people love
as
it.
well. Yeah, yeah. Well, this is great. I mean, I know we can just continue and forget about work. We'll just we'll
Yeah, yeah.
just chat. But it's really been a great having you. Love your energy, Molly. Great advice, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And to our viewers and listeners, as always, if you'd like to know how to get a hold of Molly Zamoiski, please click on a bio link below and follow us on Beyond the Bar Podcast YouTube channel, as well as all social media channels. And like I like to say, until next time, stay curious and inspired.